Greetings gamers, and welcome to part number 10 of my Let's Play Fire Emblem 9, Path of Radiance. In today's episode, I am going to be beginning by leaving base and getting right into the thick of Chapter 8, Despair and Hope. Good morning, Ike. How are things going? Does everything look good? Titania, did you get up enough rest? Enough as could be expected, given everything that's been going on. But now, we've got some business to deal with. First, we need some new recruits. Oh, but our audience with King Gallia comes first. Any word from the palace? No, nothing yet. According to the Legus who brought our food, we should be receiving word sometime soon, but... Ike, I've got bad news. Look out the window. That's not what I think, is it? If I'm not imagining things, that's a squad of Dayan soldiers. Why do they have to show up now?
What gives? We're inside Gallia's borders, aren't we? They must be out of their minds to pursue us this far.
If they've come this far, I'm sure getting out of here alive was never one of their priorities. We're in trouble. They have us completely surrounded. We cannot escape. So many of them, and so few of us. It doesn't look good, does it?
Doesn't matter. We have to fight. Grail mercenaries, ready yourselves.
Yes, sir. I'll begin formulating a strategy immediately. Ike, brother. Mist, I want you and Rolf to go back inside and hide. But, Ike... Just do it now. Everything will be fine. But I need you to do this, alright? Alright. Be careful. Ah, it's happening again. My medallion's glowing. Mother, Father, if you can hear me, please watch over Ike. Please, will you protect him?
Gebal Castle. Alright everyone, are you ready? Grail mercenaries, move out.
I do believe, obviously I'm going to be using every character in my party. Okay, so Titania does have more than enough weapons. So my plan for this is kind of an obvious one. Titania is going to be going down and dealing with the big old boss, Chimera, and his squadron of knights over here. He is the only one of your party, especially without bonus experience points being allotted to one of your units, who can possibly deal with these units at all on difficult mode. Everyone else is going to have a very much more interesting task. So the right side units over here are going to be staved off, I can't say well either, by a group of folks over here, whereas Ike and Soren are going to be going to the left and dealing over here. Now the reason why Ike has to be over here is specifically because there's going to be a recruitable unit. And I definitely want that unit. So, Oscar is kind of going to be a pivot. Gonna help Titania's group, gonna help Boyd's group, gonna help Ike's group whenever I can position him right. This is going to be a difficult chapter. It almost always is a difficult chapter. You want to make sure everybody does have sufficient enough vulneraries. I might actually bring a couple on other units. Well, no, I guess I could just put some more on particularly the units that are going to be up front and facing a slew or a cavalcade of enemies. Boyd is going to take a lot of damage. He is Mr. Damage Taker, after all. So I think that is perfect. I'm going to save and immediately begin the chapter. So Ike is okay with dealing with these guys sometimes. Of course, I'm going to be using the Regal Sword, and I'm also going to be having Soren back him up. Boyd is going to go here for the time being, and Titania is going to go here. Now, there is some ranged weapons, but there's only 2 in the starting party. I want her to actually KO all of these enemies first and foremost of her own accord before I do any ranged shenanigans. I might not even have to use ranged, which is fine because, frankly, I'm going to need the range a lot in next chapter. The short spear would probably be better used saved. But yeah, these guys don't pose any kind of threat to Titania, which is nice. It is a good thing to have a good pre-promote at this point of the game, and man, why did you have to miss that, Titania? That means she's going to leave 2 units low on health because she's going to have only 1 use of that steel axe right now. Super unfortunate. Unless she crits. Nah, of course she wouldn't. Alright, new steel axe coming up. Yeah, so Titania will take a fair bit of damage here because these enemies do have some power. But she should actually be pretty well fine to go ahead and attack on the next turn, maybe heal on the turn afterwards. This is a defense chapter, so all you must do is defend that green square for so many turns. It is quite possible to defend this chapter with a single unit, specifically Titania, especially if you've given her a bunch of stat boosters and the like. The less your units fight in this chapter as well, the more bonus experience points you get. However, and this is just kind of an unfortunate truth, I cannot possibly allow my units to not fight. Would have been nice if Ike had actually KO'd either of those guys there. Alright, so my particular strategy, obviously I'm going to be taking out the Steel Axe user. Or the Steel Lance user. This is going to be kind of dangerous, actually. I would really like to take out this soldier with Ike, because what's going to happen is... yeah. What's going to happen is he's either going to attack or run away, but even if he runs away, 2 units are going to attack Ike up close, which it means that the bow unit might attack him also. He's going to die. If that happens, I'll just restart, and maybe I'll put Ike in this position, rather. So he's only attacked by 1 of these guys, but it just takes longer to do that. So as a good bait here, I'm going to use Rise. Hopefully the bow unit moves first. I wasn't paying attention to who moves when, but if he moves first, then Ike is perfectly fine. Alright, Boyd is also okay. Go ahead and heal up here. It doesn't matter if he KOs any of these guys or if he just stands there. Looks pretty. Yes. Javeliner, goodbye. And if you notice, Titania does have a hammer. There is actually very good reason for that. Can Oscar KO? No. I definitely do not want Oscar to go much further. Let's see. Oscar has 8 movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. That's a total waste. Nothing. My units are pretty woefully inept at this moment, which is kind of to be expected. I'm not using bonus experience points. And I also haven't been focusing any units. I have more or less been just allowing all of my party to act. Part of that has to do with the fact that I'm not using all of my party. I think it's totally unnecessary. Especially considering that I want to have a pre-promote only run. You can't really do that well if you're not going to use just pre-promotes, right? Alright, so he did run away, and Ike is going to be blocked. That's nice. That's actually very nice. Yeah, this is quite a lot of enemies to have to go through. It will give Ike a lot of experience points, and I'm probably going to need Oscar for this, being real. Oscar for this particular area. To help Ike deal with the oncoming enemies. I'm not going to attack, even though it would be nice. I'm not going to attack quite yet because I think it's better not to in this particular situation. Boyd needs healing. Alright, Titania, take him out. Good job. Iron axe. Yeah, I could have moved Mia there to block, because it actually would be nice to get Titania over there. I know that we're going to be getting a lot of reinforcements in this chapter, unfortunately. It's kind of better to take out as many enemies as you possibly can when you can. Also would be nice if Boyd was going to dodge some of these guys, but apparently he doesn't like dodging. That is okay, because I will most likely be using Rise to heal up Boyd this turn, and just shoving Rise out of the way. Okay. I will throw this out here, though I am not purposely intending on doing this. If for some reason my units cannot KO enough of these units over here to get to this unit particularly, I am not restarting this chapter. I will just throw that out there. That might not be the happiest of news for everyone watching, but I'm not going to use her anyway, so. Regal. How much damage am I doing with fire? 11. Wow, of course. If I was doing just one more damage with the Regal sword. I could technically risk this, because I actually don't think there's any other range here. No, there is not. Oh, nice. Very nice sword. Okay, so this was going to help greatly. It's going to help Oscar's survivability, as well as getting that guy out of the way so that both of my units can start attacking. Well, I could use the mend. I think heal will be fine. I highly doubt he's going to take 22 damage or more in this next turn. And Kimura can reach right there, so And I think that should be fine for my turn. I'll be able to KO him next turn.
What? They still resist? Impossible. Fight dogs, focus. Focus and press forward.
You absolutely do not need to do this. You don't need to kill Kimura. But it's nice. It's nice to be able to take him out. Alright, this is wasting exactly 4 uses of my short spear. Not the greatest, but it is for a decent use. Okay, so an Iron Lance Knight came and attacked Boyd. That's awesome. That means he will take much less damage per turn. Because this is a 8-turn defense chapter, there is no way on God's green earth that you are going to find yourself in a position where you are capable of reducing the enemy's equipment down to 0. It's just not going to happen. Very nice level up, Ike. Very nice. Incredible, even. Okay, he is going to KO here, which means he's going to be attacked by 1 more unit, which is okay. The most threatening unit over here was definitely the Steel Lance Armor Knight, and I took him out turn 2, so everything should be fine. Yep, more reinforcements. They aren't exactly the reinforcements I was figuring I would get, though.
Glory to Daon.
Goodbye, Kimura. A nice bit of experience points for Titania. That's really the only reason I do it, is to get some experience points on Titania, because she struggles to get decent experience points in the early game for obvious reasons. Not really that big a deal. Okay. Wind. Goodbye, fella. Soren decided to crit you. And both Ike and Oscar are going to just heal up this turn. Yes, I'm getting closer to the point where it's going to become less viable to be doing this, because if I want to recruit said unit up there, which I still do, you know, it's not that I don't want to recruit every unit, but if I can't, I can't. Alright, Titania, you can get healed up. Be able to take on some more combat. Yeah, I do want to recruit everybody, but since I'm not going to be using her, it's not really the biggest of deals in my humble opinion. Oscar and Ike should be able to take out the rest, especially with Soren's help, but it's going to be a little bit of a tall order. There's quite a lot of enemy units still left. Nice. Ike needed that dodge. Alright, so Oscar will be attacked by 2 units this turn, as long as he hits, and he did. It's a good thing that he got enough speed in order to double, because if Oscar wasn't doubling here, this would be a nightmare. Alright, so one thing I could do to speed up the acquisition of said unit is actually get Titania over here, because don't really have a need of bottlenecking this spot anymore. We've got 2 Iron Lance soldiers. What are they going to do, you know? So, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Very nice level up, Oscar. Very nice. Help you be more useful until I can replace you. Iron Sword, of course. Yeah, so this was much easier than I thought, especially because some lucky things happened. But you gotta kind of be willing to accept that luck is going to happen in a Fire Emblem game. Yeah, so she can't reach anybody else, but that does not matter. Well, now, it would be nice. 14, 14, 7, so they're doing 7 apiece. Would be nice to get Rise over there, but actually he can't reach even if I tried. Oh well. One more vulnerary use for the time being. And that's my turn. Yeah, so a lot of my older strategies with this specific chapter was to basically allow Titania to take care of the right, which makes the most immediate sense because there's a lot of armor knights. She's the only one who can wield the hammer. So you halfway think that it would be better to have a higher damage unit over there, but the problem with that is, and this is a very significant problem, is that then you can't deal with the boss. And if you don't really care for that, then that's fine. But the knight units are too much for Oscar to deal with, too much for Boyd to deal with, too much for Mia to deal with, even too much for Ike to deal with reasonably, because we're talking about units that haven't received 1,000 plus bonus experience points, which is very reasonably possible to be done, but it's not something that I would technically recommend. Alright, so the only thing I can do here is I can throw a short spear at this guy and move away, but I actually don't think that that's... I don't think that that is really all that useful. Alright, Titania. Go ahead and take care of this Yahoo. And I guess just stay here. Boy did not get hit, hilariously. And of course, talk. Huh? Who are you?
I'm a traveling mage. My name is Ileana. This castle... Oh...
Hey, are you alright?
I'm sorry, this rain is so cold. I feel like I'm freezing.
You don't look too good. Are you sick? Do you need medicine?
You're awfully kind, aren't you?
You know, you don't look like any Dayan soldier I've ever seen. Are you really one of them, or have they press-ganged you into service?
I was traveling with some merchants, but we got separated. I came here to escape this rain, but some soldier in black found me, and they thought I was a Crimean refugee.
Oh?
I tried to tell them I was, but they wouldn't believe me. They said that they would put me to the sword if I didn't help fight you. I'm very sorry.
Don't apologize. You didn't have any choice. If it had been me, I'd have done the same. But listen, I think I've seen the merchant convoy you were traveling with in this castle. There was a weapons vendor named Mustin, and I think a woman named Amy sold items?
That's them. Oh, that's incredible. Are they all unharmed? Where are they?
They're fine, they're fine. In fact, we've all come to an arrangement, and they're traveling with us now. I don't see any reason we should go on fighting. If you're with them, we can protect you from Dayan.
You're right. Yes, would you please allow me to join your company too?
That sounds fine, Ileana. This is a dangerous place. Go ahead and seek safety within the castle. We'll hold off the enemy troops.
No, I'll fight too.
But you're sick.
You'll need some help. This isn't the full force of Dayan soldiers. More of them are waiting in the forest. You need me.
Well, I wish you weren't right, but it sounds like we will need your help.
I'm just glad to get away from those awful black-clad soldiers.
Yeah, and I can even heal up Ike which is a very good idea. And I have a new unit to speak of. Ileana. She is a Thunder Mage. Now, of course, all mages in this game can use all magics, but Thunder Mage in the sense that she starts with a D rank in Thunder and E in Fire and Wind, so she's the Thunder variant of basically Soren. We do get a Fire Mage as well a little bit later, but that's... I think he has C rank in Fire, which makes him even more viable, but considering the point at which he joins in-game, you'd think he was already either promoted or close to it. He's not even that. However, talking about Ileana here, she is interesting. With a 45% HP growth, 25% strength, 50% magic, 45% skill, 30% speed, 45% luck, 15% defense, and 50% resistance. So she actually has a much higher strength growth than most of the mages in this game, which allows her to wield heavier tomes without taking penalties. Now, because her speed growth isn't so great, this is not really going to come into play very often. It just won't, because speed is always a better stat than constitution, or in this case, strength, for reduction of weight. This is just true, because if you only have 3 speed, but you have 100 strength, you might not take any speed penalty, but you're not doubling. So what does it matter? So speed is always more important. So in actual fact, it would be nice if a few of those points of strength went into her speed growth, seeing that it is one of her worst growths. Unfortunate. But I can see what Intelligent Systems was trying to do, trying to give different niches to different specific units. Now, of course, she only has 1 strength and 9 speed, which means that she's weighed down by 5 by L Thunder, and by 2 with Thunder. Now, the cool thing about Thunder in this game is it is the strongest magic type in the game. It has the most damage, but it also has the lowest hit. The difference here that kind of makes it more unbalanced than it should be is that it also has the most crit. So you've got Fire that's sort of middle ground. It's got decent hit, it's got decent might, but it has pretty well no crit. And then you have Wind that has very low might but very high hit, and also doesn't have crit. I really think that what they could have done to make the tomes more balanced in this game is to have Wind have high crit, low might, and decent hit, while Fire has high hit, medium might, and no crit, and then Thunder just have high might and low hit. I think that would have done a world of difference of making the tomes more interesting to be used. Now, of course, as you can see, this is effective against Dragon. This is near useless in this game. Now, in Radiant Dawn, it's actually very useful, and there is reason for that. That reason being that Wyverns are no longer affected by wind magic and arrows, but are affected by thunder magic. So Wyvern Riders are treated as dragons. There are Dragon Tribe Legus in this game, and they're so few and far between, and so late game, that yes, this is useful late game. In fact, it's the reason why in my previous playthrough I was going to have Soren use Rex Bolt. That's why I switched up and wanted to give him Thunder rank instead. It just didn't work out, because since I almost always use Mist, and I love using the magic swords with her because she's the most viable with them, I almost feel inclined to have to give her the arm scrolls I get in this game, just because it makes sense, so that I don't have to bombard her with working on sword rank with particularly no good weapons, right? She's not exactly a sword user. Now, continuing on with Ileana, she does have a D rank in Thunder, which is not really good. It just means that she can use Thunder and L Thunder, which is better than your other mages' options with Thunder Tomes, granted, but it's not really that great. Now, she also comes with Shade, which causes enemies to attack other units first. This is so situationally useful. Unfortunately, there is no way to guarantee that this will work. There's just none. Just like with Provoke on Shinon, there's no way to guarantee it will work. Granted, what they both do internally in the game is they work on a priority-based system. So she has lesser priority than other units. If you have a Provoke unit next to her, I'm pretty sure it's guaranteed, regardless of what the units are, that the Provoke unit will get attacked. But even in that situation, I still don't bet on it. So that's Ileana, very first Thunder Mage, and a decent addition, nothing crazy. I could use the Steel Lance here. I'm only taking 6 damage, so that's actually not that bad. I think I will go ahead and do this. And perfect. That's what I was hoping, was that Soren was going to be able to finish this guy off after Oscar attacked him. Which is exactly what happened, so I'm pretty happy with that. And that's my turn. I was kind of assuming that he was going to attack Rise, but I guess he just did not have the range to do so. Yeah, Boyd's going to get attacked a few more times than he probably would like to this turn. He should still be fine. One can only hope and pray. I think it's probably for the best to put Titania in his spot now, to allow her to soak up the damage rather than Boyd. Boyd has done his best, and he's really been helping out. Having somebody block off all of these units is pretty magnanimous. And the fact that Boyd, who's barely leveled up and isn't really that much greater than he was at base, is doing this is pretty good, even on difficult mode. Now that doesn't mean this mode is weak or whatever, and that this is like pathetic difficulty here. It's really just because I'm bottlenecking. It's kind of intelligent to do so too. However, with that being said, I want to thank you for joining me as I go through and defeat the Daean army in this Chapter 8, Despair and Hope. If you like my content, please upvote and follow, or like and subscribe, depending on your platform. And while you're at it, have a great and glorious day gaming.